Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a little tutorial / craft with me, and we are going to be making this little album, and the pages in this album are just made from greeting cards. So any greeting cards you have laying around, they could be used, they could be just these. I think these were in like a Goodwill bag maybe that I grabbed. They could be blank card bases, anything that you have. And if you don't have a greeting card, just cut a piece of paper, let's see, like 9.5, probably by 6, and then score it in the middle and make your own base. But I think most of us probably have some greeting cards. So let's take a look at this album and let's get started. So for this album, you are going to need some greeting cards, and then you're going to need some cardstock. I'm going to use heavyweight, so like 110 pound. I'm just going to use this because it's sitting right here. And let me show you the album that I made first of all. So there's no sewing involved. So the binding is just like one of those, I call it the hills and valleys binding, which I'll show you how to make. And then it's greeting cards. So each greeting card, so when your greeting card opens, right, this is the side that is the page edge, and your greeting card is going to glue down on here, and you'll see it all come together very easily. But it kind of creates a natural pocket. So each page has a pocket as well that I just stuck a tag in. And then you can decorate your pages. So it doesn't matter what is on your greeting card, you can still use it and make it into anything. I do like this little feature. I had this paper, and a lot of these elements are from the 49 and Market box that I just got, the mystery box, and that video is up on my channel. So I was using a lot of those things. This is a die cut from it. I just scored this right here. I glued it, scored it, put a magnet right here. And this is actually the back of the packaging. I cut it out, scored it in the middle. I put some ledger paper on here. You can see the magnets in there. And then it just kind of magnetizes there. So anyways, let's get started. This is very easy. I think you're really gonna like it. So we're gonna start with the spine piece. So I am going to use heavyweight cardstock. I definitely recommend using heavyweight because it's just going to make your album more sturdy. I'm using 110 pound, and you're gonna cut it down to 6 by 7.25. I wrote down the score marks, but we're gonna do this together. So we're gonna take your cardstock, and if you do want to screenshot this, and you can read my handwriting, this is it. Okay, so you're gonna put your paper here on the 7.25 inch side, and we are going to score. I'm going to try to do this looking through or around the camera. Since this is a heavyweight, I usually run my stylus down 2 to 3 times, you know, just want to get a really good score. So your first one is a 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch. And basically what we're doing, well, this first part is like the tab that's going to attach to your cover. You'll see that in a minute. And then we're going to go to 3/4, okay? So you have 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and then 1 1/4. And then 2. No, I'm sorry. 1 1/4, and then 1 3/4. Okay, so basically what we're doing here is we're creating a tab that's going to be like this, where our card is going to attach to. And I'm going to have to trim these down to the height that I want, but we'll get to that. So basically it's going to attach like this, okay? So we're creating these little tabs, and they are a 1/2 inch tall. So they're going to be a 1/2 inch on each side. And then there's a 1/4 inch in between each one. And that gives us room for our pages so that you can add things. So hopefully that helps you understand what we're doing. And then we'll continue on. So again, we started with 1/2 inch, then 3/4 inch, and then we went to 1 1/4, 1 3/4, and now we're going to go to 2, 2.5, 3, 3.25, 3 3/4, 4.25, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 5 3/4, 6 1/4, and then 6 3/4. Okay. I know that was a lot of scoring, but you're done scoring, and now we're gonna fold. So as you could see, we have these little mountains, and then you have your valley, which is the 1/4 inch. So hopefully that helps you visualize what you're folding. So you're gonna take the 2 1/2 inch sections and kind of bring them together so that you end up looking like this. So I am going to, just so this video doesn't get too long, I am going to continue folding this and scoring it, okay? And then I will come back and show you the next step. All right, so I have finished folding, and so you should have something like this. I also kind of like to take it and just really go over it with the bone folder, just to make sure all of those folds are nice, because that's what's gonna help your pages turn. Okay, so you're gonna have something like this. Now we're gonna flip it over to the back side here, and we're gonna put tape inside these sections. So I am going to use score tape. It is my favorite double-sided tape. You can definitely use what you want. You could use glue if you wanted, but just that then you have to wait for it to dry. So I just prefer to use score tape for this, and score tape also tears really easily along my little scraper tool here. And I put the tape on both of those sections. So you're putting it on those 1/2 inch sections that are creating your mountain, and you're skipping that 1/4 inch section that is your little valley between the mountains. So I'm just gonna put the tape on here. This part is a little bit tedious. I don't mind it, but I could see how some people would think it's tedious. Right, and the last one here. Okay, so now we have all of our mountains are taped like this. So now I'm going to take my scraper and just make sure that that tape is all really stuck down. And then I'm going to tape them together. So I like to use my little pokey tool here and to pull off the release tape. So do one mountain at a time. Okay, I had a phone call, but again, you take off your release paper and then you're going to push those together. You can use your bone folder, and it's going to be like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of the mountains. So let's take it off, push them together, and then go to the next one. So now, let's take a little scraper, make sure that's all pressed down. And so you're gonna have something that looks like this. And so now we are going to put tape again on each side of the mountain on this side. So bring my score tape back. And you're going to place tape like this. On either side. Just like this. So I am going to continue doing this and then we'll come back and do the next step. Okay, so I have covered all 5 of my cards. And the other thing I did was, so if my card, you know, here's my page, right? You're gonna put a piece of tape along one side on the bottom, because when we put this in and we take that tape off, it's gonna create our pocket. So put one piece of tape along the bottom of each of your cards. And you can see I turned mine inside out. But each one is covered. And now I'm going to show you how to attach it to our spine. So what I like to do is kind of fold back just a little bit like this. So I don't pull the whole thing off, I just pull a little bit off like this. Then you're gonna take your page and think about which one you want to be, because it's basically gonna be your cover, right? So which design I want my cover to be. And I think, and I'm gonna embellish it more, so I think I'm just gonna go with this. So I'm also going to pull this down about halfway. Okay, so we're gonna take our cover, and remember the side that's closed, and I will ink this too so that you don't see that white. I'm gonna take it and put it on here. Line it up to, it's flush with the top like this. And then you're gonna kind of stand it up so it's against the spine, because you want it to be all the way, you know, to the edge here. Here's the spot that I peeled back a little bit. So while this is, there we go, pushing against it so it's staying on there, get your little piece and pull it out. Okay, I'm gonna go to the other side. Right here. Push that down against the spine piece and pull your release tape. And you can take your little scraper tool and press down. And then we have our bottom here. Pull that out. Okay, and now we have the first page, or the cover basically, and it has a pocket. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach the rest of the pages, and then I will come back and show you how we're gonna finish off the spine. Okay, so I went through and I attached all of my pages just like I showed you. And so now we have this, which isn't too cute, right? So we're gonna make a little cover to go on our spine. So if you look at my original book, I have this covering, and it kind of is floating, right? That allows us to really have a lot of movement. So I cut a piece that is 6 by 3. So again, our height, whatever height you have, mine is 6 inches. So that's the height of this one. And then it's going to be by 3 inches wide. I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges of this a little bit just so I can cover up that little bit of white that's showing before I do anything else. And then we're going to bring back our scoreboard. Okay. And we're going to put it along the 3-inch side here. And we are going to score this at 1 inch. And then again at 2 1/4. Okay. So you're going to have some little tabs here. Now, I am going to, in this middle section here, I'm going to put this back down and I'm going to score it. It's basically 1/8 of an inch. So it's like, it's every one of the little lines on my scoreboard. So that you have something like this, okay? Then you are going to take your bone folder and fold those wider sections. Now, I realize here that my one section is a little bit longer, so you can always adjust that if you need to, but I just cut it like that because it was just easier. I'm going to take the section that's a little bit wider and I'm going to put that on the front of my cover. So we are going to take our glue, and this section that is hanging over here, I'm going to glue this here, and I'm going to glue it, just fold it onto my page. And again, because this is like a heavy cardstock, you're going to have to kind of hold it here for a second. You could also use a little tape there if you wanted. I have ink on my fingers too. Okay, so I glued that down. Now I'm gonna take this section and I'm gonna glue it on here. So let's put glue on this wider section. I'm gonna put this down here. So where our first score line is, I'm kind of lining up to where this starts to curve. So you can kind of see where we're going with that. So make sure that it is even there. And then we're gonna go to the other side and we're going to glue this piece down onto our book. Hold there for a second and let it dry. Okay, and then we're going to put glue on this wider section here. And we're going to line that up and fold that over. And push that down. Okay, so now when you open it, it's gonna float, and that's fine, but that's gonna give us some more movement. So here is the front and here's the back, okay? So now you can go through and embellish it. You also are going to have a pocket up here, which on mine I used to put tags in. So you can put a tag in there. You could put anything in there. I put a tag. Now, because I use this cardstock that's like a cream color, so it's not, it doesn't necessarily match the paper. Obviously you could pick a cardstock that matches more, but this is what I use. So I'm going to take this little blending brush. This is Gathered Twigs. It's a brown. It kind of goes with it. And you can just ink this with the same ink that you're doing all your edges with. And that will, if you don't like that color popping through. And I'm letting it go over more because I know I'm going to go back and embellish things on these pages. And if you look at this one, you can see that's what I did in there. So now you have the fun part of going through and decorating your cover. You can see I even put some little book corners on here. I did a little pocket here on the front. There's this tag in it from the 49 a Market kit. So go through and embellish it and have fun with it. And it's a real easy album and a great way to use all of your leftover cards. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope that I explained it well and it was easy to understand. And I hope you have fun making an album out of all your old greeting cards. Thanks for watching. Bye.